Hi, I'm the Shadows Nose and I'm back with another rather quick pickup video because I've been to the Schiedam Retrobeurs it's near Rotterdam in the Netherlands last weekend with Tomaniac, and I did get some cool additions to my collection, but not many. First of all, I've got this Gold Star MSX computer. It's an FC200 and it does work. I mean, I did boot it up. It did boot. I did not test any games on it. Only downside is I have to replace the plug. I don't know if you can see it, but those pins are unequally long, which interferes with the child protection that you get on most outlets these days, especially on those extension cords and those power bars. I don't know the exact word. Yeah. And it has a rather nice keyboard. Feels quite well built, not as rigid as a Sony Hitbit, but still compared to a Spectrum or even to a Commodore 64, this has quite some heft on it, and yeah, the keyboard at least does feel reasonably nice, especially compared to a Spectrum, of course, but also compared to a Commodore 64. I could imagine typing quite a bit on this, and I don't know if it's a mechanical keyboard. It feels rather linear, and I don't know if there are any non-mechanical linear keyboards. And the good thing is, also the large keys, you can probably not see this on camera, but I'm pressing the left shift key right on the edge, and the key does not bind to the slightest. So it feels like a rather good keyboard. Yeah, I probably have to do some tests with it. It has the standard MSX outputs, the Centronics printer port, an RF output, composite audio video, and a cassette port and two joystick ports on the other side, and not even a on-off switch. The on-off switch is on the back. Yeah, also the second cartridge port, I think, is routed to this expansion bus, so you cannot use any of those Konami games that give you some Easter eggs, extend more levels or better sound if you have a specific other Konami cartridge plugged into the second cartridge port. Yeah, and the first cartridge slot is just a standard cartridge slot. 64K of RAM, plus this usual 16K of video RAM. I think it's a rather nice machine, and I'm pretty sure it's in perfectly working order, even though I just booted it up and typed a basic program into it. I think it's a nice machine, nice addition to my collection of MSX machines. And I only got one other thing over there, and that is a boxed copy of Atlantis for the Philips VideoPack G7000. The box is not in the greatest shape and the manual is missing, but the cartridge actually looks really nice. Also hope it works really nice. I haven't tried it. But I've been looking for the two Magic games for the Philips system for like 8 years, or yeah, I think it's 8 years when I started collecting for the Philips. And I'm really quite happy that I finally got a copy of it, even a box copy. Still missing out on Demon Attack, and I hope I will find it for a rather reasonable price. They asked $55 for it. I paid a little bit less for it. I got a $5 discount. And this is probably one of my of the most expensive games that I have. But the Magic games for the Philips system are quite good. And to be honest, I would have paid $50 for the loose cartridge. So I got it in a quite well-used box. I probably should buy some plastic sleeves for it. But I really tried to get a complete set for those G7000 games. And I have all the Parker games in box, all 4 that were released. Yeah, and with complete collection, I mean a complete collection of the games that were released in Germany or the Netherlands. I would not mind collecting those French games, but they are horribly expensive if you can find them. And the funny thing is, I found those Jopak or Jopek games, which they are called in France. At least the games that were only released in France are from this company. And I found them more often than the Magic games. This is really the first time I ever saw an Magic game on a Retrobeurs. Well, I did see Demon Attack and Atlantis on a Retrobeurs, but those were the Brazilian versions. And I was not quite, they were also really expensive, and I was not quite sure if they were compatible with a European Philips system, so I did not buy them. But I think $50 for Atlantis in a box, even if the box is well used, is not a bad price. Yeah, and sadly Demon Attack, which is the better game in my opinion, is even more expensive if you can find it. Yeah, maybe someday. Yeah, and I did ask the guy who sold me the MSX machine if he had a 128K Spectrum. He was not sure. He didn't have it with him, but he will be on the Amiga 37. I think it's Amiga 37 in October. And he promised me to look if he still has it, and if he does have it, he'll bring it with to the Amiga 37 for me. Yeah, and that's it. Only got those 2 items. I also got a PS3 gamepad for a friend of mine who broke one of his. Yeah, that's it. That was my loot from this Retrobeurs. Not that many items, but I'm really happy with my copy of Atlantis, and I'm also really happy with my Gold Star MSX machine. He also did have several Philips machines, but yeah, I only have that much money, and those both items already were my limit that I set. So yeah, I'm not a rich guy. I have to look after my money. But I think both are great additions to my collection. I really like collecting for the Philips, and I really like collecting MSX systems. And I think since I'm on the Retrobeurs in the Netherlands and Belgium regularly, I think I will find more MSX machines eventually. They were quite popular in Belgium and the Netherlands. And yeah, that's why I like MSX so much, because there are so many different machines to collect, and I'm still basically a hardware collector. So yeah, that's why I like collecting for the MSX systems. And that is my, I have 2 MSX2 Philips. I have this one, I have the Spectra Video, I have the Hitbit, and I have a Philips VG8010, I think, with a missing power supply. So I could not test it so far, but yeah, I think I have like 5 or 6 different MSX systems right now. and yeah, there are at least 10 or 20 more that were released in Europe, so a lot to collect. And they also, another seller had this exact same machine in a box, but it was like 150 instead of, I paid 49 bucks for this, which is a good price, I think. Stuff is getting more expensive, especially hardware. Saw several Atari 800 or 800 XL and 130 XE, and the cheapest 800 XL was 150 bucks boxed, but they are not worth it. And sadly, Mr. Atari doesn't do anything retro computer right now, so he always had reasonable prices. I think if you paid 150 bucks for an 800 XL, it came with 320 kilobytes of RAM and not just the standard configuration. Yeah, and I think the video is long enough. I'm really looking forward to the next Retrobeurs. I think there's one in September, which is far closer than the one I've been last weekend. So I think I'll definitely go there, even though I'm not sure if Tomaniac can visit me that weekend. If he can, we'll go together, but it's just like about less than 100 kilometers from me. So if he cannot come and visit me that weekend, I will probably go there alone. Because yeah, 100 kilometers driving alone is not that terrible. Yeah, but that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm still not quite in the mood of doing more gameplay videos. Yeah, I would love to do some retro gaming live, but I have to get my capture device running on my Linux PC. It's not that trivial. So yeah, working on that, and maybe I will probably just solder or try to find my old one cassette adapter for the MSX system. If I can find my old one, I will probably solder one real quick, and yeah, probably just do some tests with this machine, and maybe I will just put the camera on at the screen and talk about it. Yeah, and that's really it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.